I've been building my own kingdom for everyone to see. It exists to keep me safe from harm, and it's intact to glorify me. Nobody helped me build this up. It was me and me alone. I've appointed myself as the king, and I've given myself the throne. But it turns out I'm no ruler, and I have no control. So I have decided to destroy it all. I'm tearing down the walls, kicking down the doors. Everything inside this kingdom is yours. 'Cause what I've made is worthless, and it cannot stand. Come and breathe some life into my empty, cold, dead hands. Down with the fickle king, away with this fantasy. You are the one I need. Death to the kingdom of me. Death to the kingdom of me. I should probably be frightened. This empire's all I know, but it always does more damage than good. I'm afraid it's gotta go. I know that I can't be trusted, 'cause I'm just a man. And if you hadn't given your life for me, a loser would be all that I am. You know they say just follow your heart. I'm afraid that's a load of trash. Your heart will take you down to deep, dark places where you feel like you'll never come back. So I'm coming out of the dark. This facade is I woke up feeling like it was time to tighten up. Yeah, I woke up feeling like it might be a good day to get it done. That's right. Oh, the stadium is just like my second house.
Alrighty then, we are back like we never left. It is September 15th, 2025. My birthday today, ladies and gentlemen. This, my birthday, and the Titans couldn't even bother giving me a win. It is the Two-Tone Talk by God Pod, episode 174. Let's just get right in, okay? The Titans fall to 0-2. They lose to the Rams 33-19 yesterday in a game that the Titans led at halftime. The Titans were leading late in the third. They were only down by 4 at the start of the fourth, but the fourth quarter of this game and really the entire second half of this game was all Rams. And you know, I want to start off by showing you this tweet today. I said I was going to talk about this. I don't even know the name of this person, but on X they are Canadian Titan. And I just want to read this to you. They said, all off-season long, I swear the discourse on here was that the Titans aren't going to be good. The rebuild will take time. Borgonzi and Brinker have preached patience. We're 2 weeks in. We've been in position to win both games, and people are furious. Wild times. Canadian Titan raises good points because we did say that. We said that all offseason. I said that all offseason. Titans probably aren't going to be good. Titans probably aren't, going to be making too much noise. But as long as Cam Ward looks really good, then and gets better over the course of the season, that's all that matters. And he's off to a good start. And if I were to have asked you 2 weeks ago, what do you think is the most likely option after these first 2 games? Broncos, Rams. What do you think is the most likely scenario? 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2? What do you think is the most likely option out of those 3? If we were being honest, we would have said 0-2 is the most likely option with those. I mean, there's a reason why when the schedule came out back in May, we were all like, sheesh, that first month, good Lord. That is just going to be awful. And the only winnable game we saw in the first month was the Colts, but I think the Colts are better than the Broncos. They have to be. They beat them yesterday. I don't want to play the Colts right now, but we have to. That's who's next. But that was the one game from the first month that we looked at the start and we're like, oh, we could win that. But no, I think they'd have a better chance of beating Houston next week than they would of beating Indianapolis this week. The Colts look really good. Daniel Jones looks really good. So through these first 2 games, I can't sit here and be surprised they were 0-2. But if you remember 1 week ago today, I was furious on this podcast. I was going nuts on this podcast because I was so upset with the way the Titans lost to the Broncos. The reason why I am so much calmer today is because that Broncos game, and I still stand by it, the Titans should have won that game. They got 4 takeaways. Their rookie quarterback did everything you could have possibly wanted him to do. We had 8 dropped passes. The Titans should have won that game, and that's what frustrated me so bad. The Titans should have beaten the Broncos. But yesterday was the type of loss where you have to just sit back and say, well, they're the Rams and we're the Titans. They are a team that is going to probably be a playoff team and probably maybe even a contender in a lot of people's eyes. They're one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL. Matt Stafford is still a dog. Puka Nacua is a dog. Devontae Adams is still a dog. Their defensive front is a bunch of dogs. Their defense mostly as a whole is a bunch of dogs. The Rams are the Rams and we're the Titans. And we hung with them for a little bit, but down the stretch, in the second half of this game in the fourth quarter, what do you know? The Rams are better than the Titans. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. The Broncos game made me crazy because we should have won. That is a game we should have won. Yesterday, I said this on the video I did yesterday. If the Rams and Titans currently played each other 100 times, the Rams would win 98 of them because they're just better than the Titans in every conceivable way. But going back to Canadian Titans post, I'm not surprised we're 0-2. We knew this team wasn't going to be great. But here's what concerns me. Here's what concerns me from yesterday. We lost to the Rams. Okay, of course we did. Right? Of course we lost to the Rams. But while Cam Ward looks really good, and Cam Ward's headed in the right direction, man, Brian Callahan was another guy that we were watching. Brian Callahan was the other guy that we said, we need to see what he's all about this season too. Because year 1 was not good for Brian Callahan. He comes in year 2, it's like, okay, maybe that first year was just growing pains of a first-time head coach. Maybe he can figure it out. We're 2 weeks in. I know that's only 2 games, 15 more to go, but this guy is 3-16 in his time as the Titans head coach. As James just said, he has lost 8 games in a row, right? And I just want to ask you this, Titans fans. What do you think is more likely at this point? Do you think it is more likely that Brian Callahan is going to be the head coach of the Titans week 1 next season? Or do you think it is more likely that Brian Callahan is not going to be the head coach? Regardless of what you think of him, regardless of whether you think that's fair or not, what do you think's more likely right now? Based on what you saw last season in the first 2 games of this season, what do you think's more likely? That he keeps his job or that he loses his job? Because I think it's way more likely that he loses his job. And I'm not going to come on here like last week and scream and yell and run around, because that was how I felt, and that's still how I feel about that Broncos game. We should have won. But after yesterday, here's the best way I can word it. At his worst, at Brian Callahan's worst, he is an absolute liability. And he is a direct reason why the Titans can lose games. Look at week 1 against Denver. You could argue the biggest reason that the Titans lost to the Broncos in week 1 was because of Brian Callahan, and that was a major reason why I was so crazy last week, because that can't happen. Yesterday, was Brian Callahan's coaching performance as insulting and terrible as week 1? Was it as disastrous as week 1? No, but at Brian Callahan's worst, he's a liability. At his best, he's just a guy. Like, he's just a guy on the sideline. I don't get the vibe that the players are just ready to go to war for this guy. I don't think they dislike him. I just think they don't care one way or the other. And that's just as bad. I don't see a team that is just believing in what he's giving them. I don't see that. As a play caller, at his worst, he is a liability. At his best, at his absolute best, what does he do that's good? What does Brian Callahan bring to the table as a head coach or a play caller that makes you go, man, at least he can do that? Nothing. He has brought nothing to the table. And when you have a roster like the Titans that's not great, you've got a lot of holes on the roster, but look at just offensively, because he's supposed to be an offensive guru. He's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. When you have a roster like that, you need a coach that can give you the best chance to win. You need a coach like a Matt LaFleur or a Sean McVay that can put you out there and say, you know what? We may not have the best roster, but we can at least try to put something together to put our young quarterback in the best possible position, our weak offensive line, our wide receivers that are not great, most of them. How can we work this out the best? Does Brian Callahan do that as a play caller? Forget the head coach aspect. Just as a play caller, does Brian Callahan give his team an advantage? Again, the best way I can say it, at his worst, he puts us at a total disadvantage. At his best, he still doesn't give us an advantage, right? We've scored 1 touchdown so far this season. 1. And it was a freaking miracle. Let me ask you this. The touchdown that was thrown from Cam Ward yesterday, do you think that touchdown was thrown because Brian Callahan put Cam Ward in a position to succeed? Or do you think that touchdown was thrown because Cam Ward made a freakish, unbelievable throw? What do you think? If you are Amy Adams-Strunk, if you are Mike Borgonzi, if you are Chad Brinker, and you've got to make a decision on this guy, the questions you have to ask yourself are simple questions. These are not complicated. Ask yourself this. Is this a well-coached team? Are the Tennessee Titans a well-coached team? Well, you tell me. 13 penalties in week 1, 10 penalties in week 2. No matter what he says, no matter what they do, no matter what they try, nothing with the penalties ever gets better. Yesterday, on I think 3 of the first 4 plays, the Titans had penalties. That's how they started the game. We've got guys lining up offsides. We've got on kickoff team, we're in an illegal formation. These are the kinds of penalties the Titans are committing. Pre-snap penalties. Stupid personal fouls. It never gets better. Is this a well-coached team? Is Brian Callahan the guy to guide Cam Ward along? Brian Callahan, who on paper, yeah, it sounds good when he says we're going to adapt this offense to what these players can do. We're going to look at each player and see what they're good at and adapt the offense to them. But are we doing that? Are we doing that? I understand your offensive line is not great and you are constantly having to work around that. I completely understand that. But are we... While I understand it, I bet Sean McVay could figure out a way to do it. I bet Kyle Shanahan could figure out a way to do it. I bet Sean McVay, I already said Sean McVay. What's the other guy? Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, who used to be the offensive coordinator of the Titans. We could have had him, but y'all wanted Vrabel. And you know what? For all you Vrabelites, I think Vrabel was only going to get the Titans to a certain level, but at least Vrabel had something you could point at to say he's good at that. When all else fails, Vrabel can do that. He can rally a practice squad guy and get him ready to go on Sunday. He can take a roster full of nothing and get him to drag Patrick Mahomes down into the mud to try to force him to win a 13-10 bruiser. Okay, yeah, Vrabel can do that. Vrabel can instill a culture. Vrabel's a good players coach. Brian Callahan, just not much of nothing. At his worst, he's a total disadvantage for the Titans. At his best, he's still not an advantage. Do you think that Brian Callahan was even in the ballpark of being on the same level as Sean McVay yesterday? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's just talk about this. Brian Callahan, I wanted to show you this tweet from Zach Lyons. Ridley's 2 big catches of 26 and 21 yards came out of 12 personnel where they used play action and rolled out Cam. Titans used play action on 4 pass attempts, 2 scrambles, only 14.6 of the time. With an offensive line like this, Brian Callahan sees play action work, but he only does it 14% of the time. Calvin Ridley's 2 big catches came on a play action rollout. And we didn't go back to it. Why? You're adapting the offense to what Cam Ward's good at, but you're only running play action 14% of the time? What's the explanation? And also, why can't we ever make any halftime adjustments? Look at the second half yesterday. The Rams outscored the Titans, 23-6 in the second half? And that's not the first time that's happened. We've seen this under Callahan where the Titans are hanging in there in the first half and then the second half comes and they get completely smoked. What's the other team doing that we're not? It's crazy to me that yesterday, think about the sequence. Cam Ward throws that unbelievable ball to Alec Iomanner on the sideline that Iomanner makes the great helmet catch. Then Cam, I don't even know how to describe the touchdown, guys. I don't even know how to describe what I saw. dropping back, going backwards, rolling right, chunking it across the field in a perfect ball to Io Manor. I mean, if I don't care who you are, I don't care if you wanted them to draft somebody else. If that play didn't make you feel something, I don't know. And the angle that they got, the camera angle that the Titans social media got of Cam that just followed him the whole time after he got knocked down, saw that as a touchdown, got up and took his helmet off and started running his mouth to the sideline. If that doesn't make you feel something, I don't know what does. So then we're tied. Then Cody Barton gets an interception. He picks off Matt Stafford on the next play. Oh my goodness. Then we've got 2 timeouts. First thing that happens is we draw a defensive pass interference. So we're already in field goal range. We got 27 seconds on the clock. We're inside the 40 or whatever. We're inside field goal range. We got a quarterback that just made one of the freakish plays I've ever seen. And we run it up the middle 2 times. We run it up the middle twice in a row. And Cam said after the game, I wanted to go deep. I tried to get Callahan to do it. He wouldn't do it. And that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? That sums it up. He's coaching scared. He's coaching scared. All the time. And some of it I understand. I understand it last year when it was Will Levis and Levis was out of his freaking mind all the time and was a liability. I understood it then. I understand now that, man, you got John Ojukwu in there at right tackle and he sucks, and Dan Moore's your left tackle and he sucks, and you're having to work around all of that, and Lloyd Cushenberry's at center and he ain't playing well. I understand the offensive line issues, but Sean McVay could probably find a way around it. Matt LaFleur could probably find a way to work it out. Brian Callahan just looks like his solution to the problem is to just be scared to death. Once we get in field goal range, I can sense that he is so scared of giving up that field goal that he's not even attempting to try to get a touchdown. He is so scared of losing that field goal that he's like, okay, we got to run it up the middle and just try not to get out of field goal range or turn it over or do something like that. I mean, I don't have anything against the guy. I'm not as mad as I was last week, because last week he was direct cause behind why they lost, and it was obvious. This week, was he a direct cause behind why they lost? No, I think the Rams just being the Rams were the direct cause behind why the Titans lost. But is this the guy that's going to be coaching them when they get in that new stadium? I mean, is anything going on with this guy just got anybody ready for the future? Does this guy put the Titans in a position? These are the questions that Amy and Borgonzi and Chad Brinker have got to ask themselves. Is this the guy that's going to lead Cam Ward and this team into the future? Because it sure don't look like it. As I said, at his absolute worst, he's a total liability. At his absolute best, he's just a guy. But let's talk about some players too, because we can talk about the coach all we want, and I get it. But we're not going to let the players off the hook. The guys that are actually on the field playing, we got to talk about them too. Because I wrote down, I got notes here. Players that were no good yesterday. These were the players for the Titans that were no good yesterday. First of all, and keep in mind, many of these are the most expensive players on our team. Starting with the first one, Dan Moore. I got to get me a swig of my drink before this one. Dan Moore is no good at left tackle. He is no good. And I understand you guys are saying, well, he was the best tackle on the market. We had to do it. We had to pay him. I understand what you're saying. He's still no good. Well, he's better than Dennis Daly and Andre Dillard and Nicholas Petit-Frere. I understand that, but he's still no good. He's still no good. He still got absolutely torched by the Rams' like sixth best pass rusher yesterday. And he's getting paid $22 million a year. He's still not good. He is still not the answer at left tackle. He's still no good. And he was bad yesterday. You know who else was bad on the offensive line yesterday? Lloyd Cushenberry. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know if he came back from his injury too fast, but Lloyd Cushenberry at center was no good yesterday. No good. Gave up 4 pressures. Just not good. No good. Calvin Ridley. Talking about most expensive players on the team that are also actively letting the team down. Was Calvin Ridley better yesterday than he was in week 1? Okay, sure. But let me ask you this about Calvin. Has he been worth $90 million one time since he got here? In the 19 games that he has played in for the Tennessee Titans so far, has he been worth $90 million once? Because the answer to that question is no. He has never been worth $90 million. He would not be a wide receiver 1 on any other team in this league. Any other team in this league, he would not be wide receiver 1. We thought all offseason, well, at least Cam will have Calvin that he can throw to. Man, Calvin had another bad drop yesterday. And do not talk to me, because if you know what play I'm talking about, I think it was 3rd and 13, Cam throws a dart down the seam, hits Calvin right in the hands, and he drops it. And I understand what you're saying. You're saying, well, that was a hard catch to make between 2 defenders. Sorry for expecting the $90 million receiver to make a good catch every now and then. Sorry. My deepest apologies for expecting a guy that got paid $90 million to come here to make a tough catch. God forbid. After he had 3 drops last week against Denver, you don't come back in week 2 getting paid $90 million and have any drops after a performance like that. But Calvin did it yesterday on a 3rd and 13, right in his hands, bobbled it, got hit, dropped it. $90 million. And in my opinion, he's already gotten jumped over by one of the rookies that I'm about to talk about. But we're still talking about players that let the team down. L'Jarius Sneed. Speaking of expensive players that aren't living up to the money. L'Jarius Sneed, I thought, had some really good reps yesterday. There were a lot of moments where I was like, that was a great play by Sneed. But as the game went on, Devontae Adams ate his lunch. On the touchdown, Adams completely went right past him. So Sneed, yes, there were moments where Sneed had some good reps, but overall, it ain't even close to good enough. Ain't even close. Gave up a 3rd rounder to get him, gave him a lot of money, and he ain't been worth it yet. He has not been worth it yet, and neither has Calvin, and neither has or will Dan Moore. Players that let us down. Here's another one. Chig Okonkwo. I'm about to put out a missing persons report for Chig Okonkwo. I think the Titans may try to trade Chig Okonkwo before the trade deadline because I don't think they're going to re-sign him anyway. I don't think he's going to be back on this team next year anyway. What happened to this guy? His rookie year, he had that great rookie year. What has he done since then? He has regressed every year since that rookie year. Just nothing from Chig Okonkwo. Nothing. Just give his snaps to Gunnar Helm and let's just move forward. The pass rush. And I hate to harp on this too much because we knew the pass rush wasn't going to be good. But, man, we're not even getting close to getting home. I think we had 1 sack yesterday and it was on a blitz from Amani Hooker. And I don't know what you're expecting this upcoming week, but the Colts offensive line is really good. That Denver defensive front that ate the Titans lunch in week 1 Indianapolis did great against them yesterday. So you can just get ready. Daniel Jones is going to have 12 years to throw this coming Sunday when he drops back to pass against this Titans defensive front. He's just going to be able to stand back there and just scan the field for hours. With the Colts offensive line against our defensive front, nightmare fuel. The run defense in the fourth quarter especially, was really concerning. The Titans, the Rams were doing whatever they wanted in the run game in the fourth quarter, and we were just getting smoked. And I know Tavondre Sweat wasn't out there, but dang. We were getting torched in the run game in the fourth quarter. The Rams just completely sent us to another dimension in the run game in that fourth quarter. Now, let's end on a positive note with players that did well. Players that did well. Cam Ward. When all else fails, we may not have the coach. We don't. We may not have the left tackle. We don't. We may not have the center. We don't. We may not have any good wide receivers outside of one, maybe two. We don't. We may not have any good defensive players at all. But if you want hope and a future, look no further than number one. I get that he was not perfect yesterday. Totally understand. He was not perfect yesterday. Had the miss to Chimere Dike when he was wide open, and then the fumble where I think, yes, the offensive line was not good, but he held on to the ball too long. It's his second game. It's his second game, guys. He had to play the Broncos and the Rams back to back. Give a little grace right there. He's also having to operate around a play caller that I don't think is doing a good job. But the flashes are there. The throw to Io Manor it wasn't a back shoulder. He did have a back shoulder to Io Manor, but you know the one, the helmet catch by Io Manor. And then the touchdown throw, which I've already talked about. Just freaking unbelievable. You got that in place. Most important piece of the puzzle in place, in my opinion. And I know the game was out of reach, but the falling down flick out to Gunnar Helm that everybody was saying, oh, if Will Levis did that, he would have gotten roasted. Yeah, because if Will Levis would have done it, it would have been picked. I'm just telling you. Will Levis tried to do that crap out of complete desperation. Cam tries to do it because he can. You know what I'm saying? Will was the type that was like, oh, crap, I'm getting sacked. Let me just shovel it out there. Cam's the type who was like, I'm getting sacked. I can make that throw to that guy, though. There are two ways to do that style of quarterback. You can do it in a Will Levis, Jameis Winston kind of way where it's the most reckless, awful thing you've ever seen, Caleb Williams. You have that style, or you could have the Brett Favre, Josh Allen style, Patrick Mahomes-ish, where it's like, man, if any other quarterback did that, it would be a disaster. But if you can do it, fine. And so far, looking at Miami, looking at everything he did in college, and looking at what we've seen so far, Cam can do that. Cam can do that. Will Levis can't. Because Cam Ward's better than Will Levis, guys. One's a first number one overall pick, and one's a meme. One's known for playing quarterback, and one's known for mayonnaise. I mean, you tell me. So, other players that I thought did very well. Alec Io Manor. Look out, Calvin, because you're about to get jumped on the depth chart by a fourth-round rookie. Because I think Alec Io Manor is the best wide receiver on this team. I do. And honestly, although that is bad for Calvin, it's good for the Titans at least because Calvin's probably gone after this year anyway. And Alec Io Manor's, he's a rookie. He'll be here. Cam and Alec Io Manor, they can come up together. Great. Awesome. I thought Alec Io Manor was great. And I just wish we could come up with a way to get our best players involved in what we're doing instead of not being able to do anything in the second half. Anyway, thought Cam was great. I thought Cam was very good. I thought in the second half, Cam held onto the ball too long. I hate to go back to Cam. He held onto the ball too long in the second half. It is his second game ever. He held onto the ball too long. Okay. But he didn't put the ball in harm's way. He had the fumble. Okay. Sucks, but stuff happens, you know? Alec Iomanner was great. Chimere DK. This guy's been a surprise for me because I was iffy on Chimere DK, but in the kick return, punt return, like, I think he's doing a great job. I think he should have had a punt return yesterday. I don't care. That is such a weak call on Cedric Gray on that penalty, but Chimere DK's been great. I think he's been great, and I'd love to get him more involved in the offense outside of just running these stupid screens. Oh, calm down. Here we go. Going back to Callahan, if he went into the playbook and just ripped every screen pass, especially wide receiver screens out, I wouldn't complain a bit. We got to be the worst screen team in the league. We can't complete a screen. We can't have a successful screen to save our lives. Stop running screens. God, he tries these screens to Chimere DK over and over, and they never work. Ever. I thought Tony Pollard played well yesterday. He had nearly 100 yards rushing. I thought Tony Pollard ran the ball really hard, really well. It's just he's not the running back of the future. I think they were hoping that would be Tyjae. Remember him? Tyjae Spears, only 3 more weeks till he's back. But I think Titans are going to have to get a running back in the offseason because this is probably it for Tony Pollard. He's still running the ball well, but he's going to get hurt. Like, he's doing all of the carrying right now for the Titans in the run game, and it feels like we're running the ball every play because, like, we love a good run up the middle on 1st and 10 and then 2nd and 8, and then we set ourselves up with 3rd and 9, and then anyway. Joey Sly, Johnny Hecker. I think the kickers are doing a great job. I mean, you can't say Joey Sly's not doing a good job. He scores all of our points. Johnny Hecker's done a good job at punter as well. I think both those guys are doing a great job. So on a positive note, as we wrap up this episode, the Titans start 0-2. That was an obvious call. When you saw the first 2 games, you knew the Titans were going to start 0-2. And you know what? We said all offseason that we knew what the Titans were going to be. It's all about Cam. It's all about his development, and it's all about seeing if Callahan is the coach of the future. We're getting our answers. Some of those answers we like, some of them we don't, but it looks like Cam is the future and Brian Callahan is not. But, you know, losses like yesterday don't bother me too bad because it's the Rams versus the Titans in 2025. Sometimes you're just going to play a team that's better than you, and they're going to be better than you. I can't lose too much sleep over that. The Broncos game, I did get mad about because we should have won, and it was right there for the taking. But this week against Indianapolis, I mean, it's going to be tough because now Kevin Zeitler's hurt at right guard. J.C. Latham, we know he's hurt at right tackle, and then we have a healthy Dan Moore at left tackle, so we're in a tough spot. But you know, what worries me for Callahan is, okay, you're 0-2. It's going to be tough to beat the Colts. It's going to be tough to win at Houston in 2 weeks, so you could be staring 0-4 in the face. Eventually, you got to play New England. And if you're 1-6 or something going into that game, or 2-6, however many games are before that, Mike Vrabel comes in and beats you. Like, Brian Callahan's done right there. He's done on the spot. Whether they fire him that day or not, Amy's going to make up her mind that day. He's out. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. But I don't see anything about Brian Callahan that excites me at all, that makes me believe in him at all. And really everything I could say about the Titans, I summed up in this tweet last night. I said, this is on the Two Tone Talk X, I said, I'm just sick of being terrible. Most of all, I'm sick of being terrible for the same reasons over and over. Can't block anybody, can't score touchdowns, conservative play calling, constantly having to work around a pathetic O-line. Nothing ever changes, ever. And that's the most discouraging thing. Even back to when Vrabel was the coach, it was the same issues. Same stuff over and over. Same stuff. And you want to know something? Back when we had those good years, 2019, 2020, 2021, we talk about Derek, we talk about AJ, we talk about Tannehill, all of the good things about those teams. You want to know what those teams also had? They had Ben Jones at center. They had Taylor Lewan at left tackle. They had Jack Conklin at right tackle. Roger Saffold at guard. Those teams had great offensive lines. When you have a terrible offensive line, it's hard to do anything. It's hard to do anything. And we've had a bad offensive line for years. But I want to go back and say this because I forgot to mention him. If you want to look at a player that played really well on the offensive line, because he's been doing it for the last year, Peter Skoronski had another great game yesterday, and it gets completely overlooked because he's taking care of business and everybody else on the offensive line has pee-pee running down their legs. But Peter Skoronski is great. He's great. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 starting offensive linemen yesterday were great. The other 4, terrible. Terrible. John Ojukwu, I know he's a practice squad level guy at right tackle. A liability. He gave up 5 pressures. I mean, it's just like, what can you do? What can you do? That's it for me today. I'll be back Friday to preview Titans Colts, and we'll talk about everything else going into week 3. God bless you, everybody. Have a good rest of your Monday. Tighten up. Bye.